So this is just an aside. It's not really going to be a long video or anything like that. It's just going to be a quick little note of something that I've seen in a lot of different places. Not to say that this is like come up in my comments or anything like that, but it's it's a general line of thinking or a general line of speaking or something of that nature where I see a lot of people talking about the Roman Pantheon and saying that it was stolen from the Greeks. And it's this word right here, stolen, that I'm going to be talking about because the Romans didn't really steal the gods. You know, it. How do you even steal a pantheon, right? Like, do you just go pick up the Parthenon and slap it down in the middle of Rome and say, bada bing, bada boom, baby, now we're Athena, or something like that, right? You just, how does that even work? So when people say that, like, the Romans were stealing, these gods, they usually cite that there's an association between, like, Jupiter and Zeus and Hera and Juno and Apollo and Artemis and Minerva and that type of thing, right? So they see this association between the two, and they think this means that since the Greeks came first, that the Romans stole the gods from them. But if we take a closer look at even, like, the Greek gods, let's talk about one of their most popular among the Greek pantheon believers, which would be Dionysus, right? Dionysus was originally a Parthian god, or I guess not Parthia, but that area. He was originally from the area on which Parthia would come from, right? So they stole that god too, by the definition that the people that I'm talking about use, right? So the Greeks stole their gods, and the Romans stole their gods from the Greeks. So how's that really stealing? Is if you steal something and someone steals that from you, was it stolen from you? No, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say yes either. It was just lifted. So let's zoom in, right? Let's pan all this into, like, the Roman and Greek. Let's let's talk. I'm going to talk about Rome first. So Rome, in its later years, they would, whenever they took over a lot of different populations, what they would do is that they would say, look, your god is a lot like this one. So I'm going to use, like, the Norse pantheon because I don't really know, the Gallic pantheon or the Germanian pantheon, or I guess the Nordic does come from the Germanic pantheon, but whatever. So, the Romans would come in and say, hey, look, your god Thor is a lot like our god Jupiter, considering that they are both lightning gods. Tyr is a lot like Mars, and Odin is a lot like, so on and so forth, right? And it's just an association. It's just the Romans would do that to say, hey, look, you don't have to, say that we're oppressing you. You don't have to say that we're taking over your gods and replacing them with someone else. What we're doing is we're saying, look, you already believe in this God. We already believe in this God. They're the same by our, definition, by how we see it. So what's the difference here? What's the real, like, you can't really, like, rebel against that because, they're the same, right? So, it's just an association. People, like, as people say, don't assume that there's a correlation where there's just a causation and things like that. It's just a correlation. They just correlated their gods, saying, this god is like that, and that type of thing. So the Roman pantheon was meant to expand. If you look at any, like, one god, like, in particular, I'll say, like, Minerva. She has a whole bunch of different references to contemporary gods. Like, you could say that she's like the god of Ostra, she's like, Epona, or whatever. You could say she's even, Artemis, which is the one that she's most famously associated with. And yeah, that's really just it. It's not like they stole it. It's not like they, wanted to just say, look, our gods are better because we have them under a cooler name. No, just saying, these are similar, so then we can all work together. We can all understand that we're working towards, the same type of gods. We're all trying to appease the same people. We don't have to split up, and you don't have to believe in your own sect of that or this or whatever. And even though there was, like, different cults of different gods, and even some of them, well, at least one of the most famous ones of them would be the cult of Isis. Not the one now, just no, the Egyptian god, Isis, the one who was, like, reborn, married to Osiris, that type of thing. They believed in them, and that was the cult of Isis. That's just what the Romans would do, and then there was even a Mithridatic cult over Mithridates. So bringing it back, stole in this case is just a really bad word by my definition. And like I've said before, it's an association, it's a correlation, it's a relation. It's not saying this is directly that. So there you go.